Hello and welcome to ForMorSport, the show where we talk about all things football. This is episode 20. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize Keith was not in the building, but he is now. Welcome to the stream, Keith, Nana, and Roger. How are you all doing today?
Yeah, fine.
Very good.
You're all keeping well. Good.
Thanks.
Hopefully, we'll be able to add. Hello, Chris. Are you there? You have no sound, unfortunately. So Chris is gonna maybe at the moment you'll be here at the moment in spirit, but no, we won't be able to hear you. But anyway, welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. What a day we have had in football in the English Premier League. It has been an absolutely amazing day. But to put it into context, I'm going to read you out just a little bit to set the scene. I'll read something to you and then we will go on from there. So today's game, this was up for grabs. You had Manchester City on 90 points, you had Liverpool on 89. The Premier League would be decided on the final day. Tottenham had 68 points, Arsenal had 66 points. Top 4 would be decided on the final day. Manchester United had 58 points, West Ham had 56 points. The Europa League spots would be decided on the final day. Burnley had 35 points. Leeds also had 35 points. The relegation would be decided on the final day. Mo Salah, he had 22 goals. Son Heung-min was on 21 goals. The Golden Boot would also be decided on the final day. Mo Salah had 13 assists. And Alexander-Arnold had 12 assists. The top assister would also be decided on the final day. And lastly, but not least, we had Alisson and Ederson, so goalkeepers of Liverpool and Manchester City, both on 20 clean sheets. The Golden Glove would be decided on the final day. Have you ever... In how many years has it been since there have been so many different things going to go down to the wire? Nana, what's your take on that?
Well, it's amazing. It's why we love the Premier League. I think it's also part of the reason why the Premier League is probably the most watched league in the world. Some say it's the best. Maybe might not be the best in some people's eyes because they might not feel the quality's there. But it's the best watched league because the bottom team can beat the top team on any given day, and it don't matter whether that top team's Man City at the moment. I remember they'll lose to whoever is the bottom team, and that's why the interest is so much in this league.
Yeah, exactly. And you, Roger, what about you?
Well, until we had that list about how much was decided on the last day, I wasn't aware that so many things were up for grabs.
Yeah,
and that's fascinating. We haven't had that, as you said, in so long, so it did make for a very exciting last day, seeing what would happen, and unbelievable.
Yes, and Keith?
Yeah, it's great. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed every minute of it.
I think obviously
it's fun. It's fun when your own team isn't really. We were involved, but it mattered less than some of the other stuff. Observing it from a neutral perspective was fascinating.
Well, if you put it into context, your team. Sorry, Chris, are you there?
I am indeed. If you can hear me,
I can hear you loud and clear. So from sorry, Keith, I just wanted to make sure that Chris was in, but from your perspective, obviously, you were on 58 points. West Ham were on 56 points. You knew that as long as you had more points than them at the end of the season, the dreaded Europa Conference competition that you would not be in. Would it have been a really drastic, would it be really bad for Manchester United if they had been in the conference and not in the Europa League?
Well, there's a part of me was actually hoping we had dropped out of Europe altogether. In the conference, we need a bit of a reset. But the Europa League, if given the choice between the Europa League and the Conference League, I'm picking the Europa League definitely. We did our best. We gave it our best shot to blow it, but fortunately West Ham. That's the story of our season, isn't it? It's it's rubbish that kind of gets it, and we managed to be less rubbish than West Ham today.
So Chris, I know that you
Glad that's over.
you missed the earlier introduction where I was talking about the different battles that were up for grabs, and obviously, as a Liverpool fan, at 75 minutes, or at 73 minutes into the game today, the title was going to Anfield. Did you at any time think that, Aston Villa would completely capitulate the way they did?
Liverpool were never on top of the table at any point today. So to me, I understand that, there was a point in time where Villa was winning, but Liverpool were not. So in all honesty, the frustration was you as a club, as a team, not doing your side of the job. And the moment we took the lead, City were already winning. So to be honest, I think there was a point in time just before halftime and just after where, as a fan, I felt physically sick. I was like, I cannot believe what is. No, I didn't throw up. Just a figure of speech. Football is not that. Football is not that deep. It's not that deep. But I did think to myself, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. I didn't expect Villa to be ahead at any point in time.
Yeah.
So for them to be 1-0 up and you're drawing when you probably could have easily been losing as well, it was chaotic. But I think once the second half started and it just looked like, Villa have gone 2-0 up, still doesn't really make a difference. You have to score another goal. And by the time we've now scored another goal, they're in front. It was job done kind of thing. So,
but was you expecting that though? Were you? I mean, I'll put that out to the panel. It was one thing to be 1-0 up away from home against the potential champions, but did you think we're in for an upset here when they went 2-0 up? When Coutinho scored that goal, did you think that the title was heading to Anfield, or did you still think City could still get something out of this? I'll put that to you guys. Oh, go on, Roger, please.
I have to be honest, when the second goal went in, I thought all it's going to take now is Liverpool to score and everything's going to swing. That would have put more pressure on the City, I would have thought. But you know what? I always thought City would score. The fact they scored 3 in about 10 minutes or so was phenomenal. But I was like Keith, watching it as a neutral. There was nothing in it for Chelsea, but it was exciting. When Coutinho scored that second one, I thought we could just have an upset here.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah,
yeah. And Nana, what was your? So it's bad enough they go 1-0, it gets to 2-0, and it's now 75 minutes, and you're thinking, hang on a minute. Is this going to happen? What was your take on it? Did you think suddenly?
Well, my take is this: my father-in-law says no one likes to be wrong. It's a saying of his, and he's so true. No one likes to be wrong. And at the beginning of the season, I said, "Oh, Man City will win it." Then a few weeks ago, I said, "Man City will win it." And then Friday at football, someone said, "I said no, Man City will win it." And then Keith on our little group says, "Oh, it's going on. Oh, it's going on." I'm sitting there thinking, I don't want to be wrong. And then when they scored, I have to admit, I was cheering. And then they scored again. And I thought, no, City are going to do it. City are going to do it now. City are going to do it. So it made it quite exciting. So I was kind of like a City fan. Sorry, Chris, for a few minutes.
Oh, what happened there? Sorry.
Trying, saying, oh, did you miss all of that?
Yeah, say that again, please, Nana. We didn't hear you. Say that again.
Oh, man. Basically,
I heard you said you're a City fan, and then what happened?
For a few minutes, I was a City fan because I didn't want to be wrong that I said City would win.
Yeah.
And it was getting closer and closer. Liverpool closed that gap before. Liverpool going to do this. When it was 2-0. So when City scored, I was actually cheering. And then when they scored again, I'm clapping and cheering. And when
Is Jenna watching Netflix?
Yeah, excited as a City. well, not quite that much, but I was watching it as a City fan for a few minutes.
Sorry, Nana, I don't know if you heard Keith say, is Jenna watching Netflix right now?
You've got a bandwidth issue, I think.
Okay, well, no, nothing different. So sorry about that.
You know what? I had exactly the same. Nana, I had exactly the same problem a couple of weeks ago. Whenever it seems like the sun's out, my bandwidth just goes terrible. But let's just carry on. So, as I said, you had some individual battles. We know that the Premier League again has gone to City. Liverpool definitely drove them as close as possible. And in the end, I've been saying quad for some time, but we now know that it isn't to be. But no disrespect to Liverpool, no disrespect to City. They both were playing absolutely phenomenally. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, sorry, Keith. Please.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this Wednesday night, wasn't I? This wasn't done.
Yeah.
City had this ability to, for all their sublime football and for all the great. As somebody was saying this week, they lack a few characters. City, they don't have that kind of strong leadership on the pitch. They all kind of look to Pep. And when things go a little bit awry for them, they all sort of seem to look at one another.
Yeah.
This happened last week at West Ham, and I felt there was a potential momentum shift that's been going on for a few months. So I wasn't surprised at all by Villa turning up and smashing in 2 goals. But you have to say, substitutions from Pep.
Yeah.
Absolute genius. Once you get Gundogan and Sterling on, and they just, I mean, that's genius, isn't it? That's what you paid the big money to do, isn't it? He got that. He got those substitutions absolutely bang on. And once if you scored the first goal, you were thinking, okay, they've got.
Yeah, but did you think 3 goals in the space of?
United used to do this a lot. It used to be. We used to have this quite a lot with United, where there would be a team would come in and storm into a 2-0 lead, and then you'd score that first goal, and then suddenly the floodgates open, and you'd wind up 4 or 5-2 winners. We used to do it quite a lot, so you kind of get to see that happen in a game. And you think, I could see it then. It was a shame because I was expecting. I say it's a shame. I didn't expect Liverpool to be quad, but you know what I mean. I thought Villa had done brilliantly up to that point, but you could see their resistance had gone at that stage.
Okay, Keith, if you could maybe move closer to your mic just slightly, I can sort of hear you, then sometimes I don't. But
okay.
But it's I don't know. It's just
I will
technology.
have to get closer to my face. That's the only problem.
Hey, we get to see you up close and personal. I mean, obviously, Chris, the big one. We know that there was, there was a lot riding on today. There was different battles. It all seemed like it was gonna. Then it was, I know you said you were at no stage were you winning today, and it's amazing. The game itself, Wolves taking the lead. Well, you start to think, oh, hang on, that's not the script. The script is we win our game, but Wolves, and then I think Dendoncker could have made it 2-0 at Anfield. Did you watch the game?
Yeah. This is one thing about I know perennially Liverpool have their tag is not as big as other teams in terms of bottle. But one thing I will say is that since Klopp has come in, this is a different Liverpool team that most people, if you don't support the club, you don't acknowledge it, perhaps. We went behind against Southampton. We've gone behind against so many teams in recent times.
Crazy.
But with a Klopp team, if he can get them in at half-time, right, as Liverpool fans, for the first half, as long as you don't go 2-0 down, right, you're not relaxed, but it's under control. Because look at how many points we've dropped this season. Or look at how many we've won. The statistic came up on the game. We've won the most points from losing positions. To be honest, us going 1-0 down set us up for the rest of the game. In all honesty, it set us up.
You need, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah.
that could be the kick that you need to get you going. I mean, I think the commentator did say, you know, Man City are the same. They were being beaten by West Ham only a couple of weeks ago, and they turned that around. Should have won the game, but with Mahrez penalty save. They play Aston Villa. They're 2-0 up. They're losing. The crowd is against them. They turn it around. I just think that that may well be the difference between the very successful clubs and the also rans, because it seems that there's a winning mentality that seems to carry on, and it goes through. As Keith said, you know, the well-known Man United teams of old would never say die. They never would allow themselves. And the proof's in the pudding. How many times were they? You know, I know there was Fergie time in the olden days where they would, you know, sometimes they would eventually get a result, even if it was in the 110th minute. But of Fergie time, they would still get a goal and a result. So so basically, commiserations, Chris. But you
no. I think it should be more congratulations to City, to be honest. You know, City. I don't have a
City fan in here, so I'm saying commiserations to you, but congratulations to City. Definitely. They are the champions. It was difficult near the end. Lots of teams were dropping points. Very, very difficult. So we're going to move on then, because obviously I said that it was between Tottenham and Arsenal. There was 66 points. Crazily, Arsenal win 5-1 against Everton. Tottenham win 5-0 away to Norwich. But the top 4 places have now been locked in. City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Tottenham. Congratulations to all of them. Tottenham came good at the very end. They've had a difficult season and they just came good. And even though we tried to poison Harry Kane, it didn't work. So, Nana, my question to you is, are you disappointed that we're in the Europa League?
Not at all.
Go on, explain. Why are you not disappointed?
I'm disappointed we didn't get the Champions League, as in, if I had a choice, of course I'd want the Champions League.
Yeah.
But right at the start of the season, I never ever thought we was going to get 4th, because what the script was, it should have been Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, and Man United. They were the 4 strongest sides.
Yeah.
When everyone had done their transfer business at the start of the season. We were looking in outside. We was looking in the house of the 4 best teams. We was looking in. Can we get in, please? So I saw us in 5th, 6th at best. Yeah. I was hoping we could get top 4. But I was no way expecting it. We lose our first 3 games, and now I'm definitely thinking, I hope we can even. People were writing us off. People were really. I was listening to pundits, and they really said that we're awful, we're this, we're that. We're fighting relegation. We weren't fighting relegation, but they had us not even getting in the top half of the table. That was proper pundits.
Yeah.
Whether they were trying to have a cheap dig or whatever, but they were saying we weren't even going to come in the top half of the table. So I'm happy with the progress that they did. But Paul Merson said it quite some time ago. If we keep our first 11, then we can get top 4.
Yeah.
As soon as we lost Partey and Turney, then that was the kind of the game over for us. It was like then we lost key components that were keeping us with that chance.
And we just lost Keith.
Yeah, we just lost Keith.
Wow.
Key components.
Key components. Keith.
He's coming back.
Keith, Nana said just before you left that Arsenal had lost key components. And I was thinking, I've just lost a key component of my panel. Sorry, Nana, please continue.
That's right. So we lost those, and then we lost against, was it Southampton? There was a Crystal Palace, and I forgot the third game in that run of losing. Brighton,
yeah.
And that's it. When we lost those, I thought, we're not going to do it, because the reserve guys are just nowhere near as good enough. We needed a better squad. But then we kind of gave ourselves hope again by winning the next 3. Chelsea, I thought we was going to lose. Man United, I thought we was going to lose. And West Ham, I thought we might win that or we might not. but the other two I thought we was going to. So when we won those 3, we gave ourselves the hope again.
Yeah.
So from that side of it, I'm disappointed because when we went into the Tottenham game, I said to my son, just play defensively. I don't care what everyone else, just play for the draw and keep that 4 points gap and catch them on the counter.
Yeah.
The first few minutes of the game, we played well, but then we threw it away.
Can I just say, Nana, I was really hoping that you would be in the show after that game so that we could have had a more in-depth discussion on Holding and his role and the fact that we just let it go. And obviously the momentum was then with with Tottenham. And yes, and guess what? Now we are in the Europa League, but still, it's no disrespect. It's still part of Europe. We weren't in Europe last season, so by default it is an improvement.
Sorry, Johnny. So the thing why I'm not disappointed, I actually think by the right couple of players, 3 players, striker, centre midfield, at least one of each, and a cover for the left right back, or get Ainsley Niles back, we can actually win the Europa. That's why I'm not disappointed. Whereas the Champions League, I don't think we can win that.
No.
But what would have happened with the Champions League, we would have been able to recruit a better standard of player. So that's why I'm disappointed.
But have you sorry, I just want to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Some of the pundits that you hear on on the mainstream shows, they have now started to identify that the Thursday night game for those clubs, they've proven that over the season the Europa League teams suffer greatly because of the when the game is being played and to what game they go into the Premier League on the Sunday afternoon or the Monday, where they said that actually it's better for you to be in the Champions League or not in Europe at all if you want to do well in the Premier League. Okay. Have you ever? What's your take on that? Because obviously Arsenal want to do better, but is it possible when you know that they play Thursday nights, which means they won't be playing at the weekend? They're playing catch up because they tend to.
Okay. My take is this: if you're not in Europe at all, then you have a brilliant advantage over the teams that are in Europe. But if you are in Europe, I remember Jose Mourinho in his second season, he won he won the Premier League with Chelsea in his first season. Yeah. Then in his second season, he was complaining, saying David Dein was having some fixing of the schedule for Arsenal. So when they had their Champions League match, their next match was a home match. And Mourinho, you'll be able to look at, always wants a home match after being in Europe. So it don't matter whether you're in Champions League or Europa League. It don't make any difference. It will affect your form. You if you're playing away, say you're going away to Russia, and then now you've got a long, you're playing far away, and you're in your next league game, it will affect every single team. So it don't matter whether it's Europa or Champions League, and that's even from Jose Mourinho. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to that.
Yeah. Okay, so
so you need a big squad. So that's the fix. You need a huge quality squad.
Yeah, but is that possible? That's going to be so. Keith, do you think that Manchester United now that they're in the Europa League, do you think that they have a squad strong enough to do both? Compared to what's happened this season, the fact that people like Pogba may be leaving, we don't know what Ronaldo will be doing next season. Rashford has been underperforming. Lingard might be going as well. Harry Maguire has been garbage. I mean, is Ten Hag, is that his name? Is he going? Do you think that he's going to, get the sweeper and sweep out a lot and bring in new? Do you think that the squad is big enough to do the Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, and Europa League as well, and still do well in the Prem?
Well, you can't change an entire squad in one summer. You could make an argument with the exception maybe of David De Gea and maybe one or two others, you could make an argument to get rid of any United player this season. But he won't be able to do that. And that's not the answer. We have to look at getting the best out of the individuals that are there and adding key players. The centre of midfield has been a problem for United for some time. The right back has been a problem for United for some time, and we don't have a top level. Well, Ronaldo is a top level striker, but he's 37, so he's not the future, you know. So we need to solve that problem as well. I'm not saying whether Ronaldo stays or goes. We have to look at a long-term solution up front. So there are three key areas that have to be addressed immediately. But yes, as you say, well, Matic is going, Mata's going, Lingard's going, Pogba's going. Suggestion that Wan-Bissaka will probably be sold. So there are a number of... Martial won't be there next season. You know, he's already away on loan. So there's already a number that are either out of contract or already away. What Ten Hag needs is to be left alone. If the board go... The problem is, if the board go to Ten Hag now and say Champions League qualification is the minimum requirement or you lose your job, what will happen is what happened under previous managers where quick fix solutions have come in.
Yeah.
We'll get players like, when we've got Zlatan Ibrahimovic, great to have him at United, but he wasn't a solution because he was 35. And the same is true with Ronaldo. So if you want a long-term plan, you've almost got to say to Hag, look, actually, it doesn't matter what happens, as long as you're not, you know, fighting relegation or something. Even if you don't make Champions League football next season, this project is beyond next season. It's got to look. We've got to look long term.
Okay.
I don't know whether our board are capable of doing that. I don't know whether they, and also with the way the ownership is structured and everything else, I don't know whether they're willing to accept 2 years away from the Champions League, 3 years away from the Champions League. But in order to build a foundation, I think they might have to.
Mm-hmm.
Got the bottle to do it. And that's
the
question, isn't it? You know?
Very true.
What I do like about Ten Hag, and this is something that Chris pointed out a few weeks ago, and it was an interesting statement that he made, is that as with Klopp at Liverpool, you've got a manager in Hag that's actually in the ascendancy. He's kind of on his way up. With other managers we've had, like Van Gaal and Mourinho, you kind of felt that their best days were behind them. Particularly
okay.
But with Klopp, you think with Hag, you're thinking here's a manager he's only sort of 50 odd, and he's establishing himself. He's in an ascendancy. So it'd be interesting to see. He's now testing himself in a better league, where he's at. You know, I'm optimistic, but I don't think he's necessarily going to do the same as Klopp. But it'd be interesting to see. We've finally got somebody who's an up-and-coming manager, rather than perhaps somebody who's maybe past their best. I think by the time we got Mourinho, he was becoming a bit of a dinosaur, you know.
Wow, dinosaur.
Well,
okay, so
I think he's lost his touch. I don't think he's got that same touch that he had all those years ago when he was at Chelsea and then Milan. I don't think he's had that level of success for quite a while now, has he?
Yeah. So let me bring in Roger then, because I know that I can see Roger has been patiently waiting to bless us with his knowledge. All of those statistics that I gave earlier on, Chelsea were not a part of it, because Chelsea were not playing for anything. They had secured third place. Obviously, they've already won some tournaments at the beginning of the season. They got a result today against Watford, played for their youngsters. My question to you is, do you think that next season, that they will actually be able to challenge, especially with some of the youngsters that they have on loan? Do you think that they'll recall them back, and that those will be the ones that they will use to push them forwards? Or do you think Tuchel's in trouble, especially if he loses people like Rudiger? He's lost Christensen. Lukaku wants to go back to Italy. And do you think that the youngsters that are coming through that are on loan will be able to help Chelsea to push forwards to win the Premier League next season?
It's a very difficult one, Matt. I think the youngsters will be integrated. He's made it clear already in interviews I've seen that Armando Broja and Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
Going to be integrated into the squad. Harvey Vale's on the fringes already. We knew we were going to lose Rudiger and Christensen and what have you. So there was always going to be a rebuilding work there. Some of the names that have been mentioned have been quite spectacular. Jules Kouande, is it, or something like that?
Yeah, Koundé.
Koundé, that's right. So, do you know, it really just does depend. I think the youngsters are going to have to play a part, but we do need some experience around them. Whether he can gel that and we can make a challenge, we'll see. I honestly don't think that we're going to challenge next year because, you know, Liverpool and Man City are streets ahead of everyone else in the league. And by the way, you take those two out, we're the best team in the league. So, you know, let's not forget that. But I still think it's Liverpool and Man City and the rest are scrapping for it. I hope we can make a good fist of it. I think we get a rub of the green. The new owner comes in, wants to make a bit of a marquee signing or two. We could get some good players in, and it could suddenly all be very rosy. But from where I am at the moment, I don't know. I wouldn't like to say. I'd like to think we'd be there challenging, certainly for top four, because it's going to be a big rebuild next season. And how it all works and how it all gels, well, we'll just have to wait and see. But I'd like to think we'd still be sort of a competitive and still be up there. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
do you think Tuchel will stay?
I think he will stay. There's no other real big teams out there, I think, that will be looking for managers. There was an interview I saw on the Chelsea website, very positive towards the fans and the club. He seems to have a connection there. So because I don't think there's anything else, any other club he could go to at the moment. But I think that he connects enough with Chelsea to say, yes, he will stay. Of course, a lot will happen. A lot will depend on what the new owners do and what they'll bring to it. But I think that they would recognise he is one of the best managers around. You know, you don't want to lose him because who are you going to bring in to replace him? So I think he'll stay. And I think he'll do a good job for us. As I say, how it'll all work when these new players come in, well, we'll have to see. I don't know. But, you know,
so
we've had a lot of success for a long time. So we have a couple of years where we sort of rebuild. Well, that's, you know, football goes around in circles, doesn't it? You can wait years for another trophy. We've all had that. So I think we'll be all
right. So, Chris, obviously you have some players that haven't signed yet. They're now the other side of 30. Are you happy with the players that have been brought in to eventually replace the likes of Salah, Mane, who may be leaving? I mean, I'm not saying they are leaving. I'm just saying that there is talk that with the Frenchman, what's his name?
Mbappe.
When Mbappe not going to Real Madrid, that Real Madrid have suddenly turned their eye again to Salah, maybe Mane. Would you be worried if, obviously, quality players like that get poached and taken away? Do you think that Liverpool would still be a force?
Okay, so to answer the question, of course, Liverpool. This is a Liverpool team under Jurgen Klopp. Like the biggest and best thing that these owners did was getting him in. We've seen in the past players have chosen to go on to pastures that they think are greener. Gini Wijnaldum, Emre Can, and Philippe Coutinho for a start. Philippe Coutinho was that guy before he left. He chose to leave. We elevated. At the end of the day, do I think Real Madrid will spend triple figure millions on Mohamed Salah purely on footballing ability? Not sure about that. When he's coming into his last 12 months, I don't know. But if they do, fair play to them. Like we said, these players, they're about to hit the wrong side of 30? I personally think when you look at someone like Ronaldo, I know they're not the same, but if you keep yourself fit, well, healthy, why can't Salah do that kind of thing? But if at the same time he feels I've reached the end of my cycle and I don't want to sign and I want to go and experience something else, no Liverpool fan is going to begrudge him that either. Ultimately, you've got a manager who has a pull. You know, for me, I don't even think that the players who would replace those individuals are even there. For me, I know that for Liverpool, the manager loves the likes of Martinelli and Saka. Saka hasn't signed a contract at Arsenal. So, to me, I'm like...
2 years, he's got 2 years.
But fact is, money talks as well, So if Real Madrid give us that money and we say to Arsenal, all right, we want to give you that money for those players, we just don't know. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I'm just happy with where we are right now.
Just as a question, Chris,
sure.
Can players in their 30s that get towards their mid-30s play Klopp's brand of football?
Oof.
It depends the position that you're playing, because as an example, look at James Milner. James Milner,
wow.
He doesn't play every week. He doesn't get a lot of minutes, but ultimately it's also a squad game, because if you're going to balance it, and let's say the likes of Harvey Elliott are going to get more minutes because certain other players are now on the decline, it's still a squad that knows their job, if that makes sense. You've got some on the rise, you've got some on the decline. They help each other out, and I believe you balance it out. But to answer your question, could they do it on a consistent basis? No, I don't think so. You do need reinforcements.
They're early 30s, though, aren't they? They're early 30s.
They're early 30s.
They're not. They can go for 2, 3, more. 4.
100%.
Those two guys.
100%.
But long term, you have to think about. There's going to be a changing of the guard. There's going to be a transitional period.
100%.
I love that term, changing of the guard.
Yeah, but they're already doing it. Diaz, Jota, they're already doing it, and seamlessly as well. Seamlessly. Look at how the Diaz and Jota, they've done it. Klopp's brilliant, and the whoever's done the recruitment,
brilliant.
Please sign them, Arsenal. Please sign them.
And that's the thing. I don't want to be controversial, but if you're asking me for a wish list, the 2 players that you have at Arsenal, left and right, I would be all over it. Martinelli and Saka, I'm all over it.
Nothing to see here.
Move along.
I'm all over it. If you gave me a choice right now, if we could get both, wonderful, but definitely one of those 2.
But this is where the top managers earn their money, and this is where Ferguson money, because he knew when it was time to move people on and to grab the next generation and to find it, and when if a player went on a season too long, he would by that, and so as you say, when players get towards their 30s, you're looking at them and you're looking at how big a part can they play.
Yeah.
And where am I relying? And that's where Klopp will earn his money. There'll be a transitional period. And if he can make that transition as seamless as it seems to be going at the moment, Liverpool will continue to be a force.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a coincidence. And I know that Chris has had a go at me for saying this before, but the fact that Arsenal's squad is one of the youngest, if not the youngest in the Prem, is actually a good thing. I mean, I know that we will probably be buying new players, and some players will be leaving, some people are coming in, and this, that, and the other. But even some of our youngsters that we have out on loan at the moment, they're young to come into the squad. And it is exciting. Obviously, Arteta had a broom. He had to sweep. He has tried to do that. Our squad wasn't big enough. If it was big enough, if Partey and Tierney stay fit, if Tomiyasu didn't get injured, if. I mean, there's lots of ifs.
You're always going to get injuries, so you got.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the key word was in the January window, actually it was something that Chris mentioned in the last show. In the transfer window that we had, we it was stick or twist, and we stuck. We didn't say, do you know what? We need more guys. We need to bring our guys back from loan. We need to get Saliba. We need to get Guendouzi. We need to,
Bruno. The one that went to Newcastle.
Yeah.
He actually said we approached him.
Yeah.
And that was it. We didn't go any further. So for me, that's the unforgivable one.
Yeah.
I think Maximan would suit Arsenal massively.
He would, but that's not what we need. What we actually need, in my opinion, is we need a centre forward, a proper centre forward. Vlahovic would have been fine. He didn't want to come to us.
Yeah.
And we need Partey is always going to get injured. Xhaka's okay, but he's not good enough. I said it from 5 years ago when we didn't get Kante, we got Xhaka. We will not get in the Champions League while we have Xhaka as our starting centre midfield. We need Partey and someone else as the starting midfields and Xhaka as decent cover. Then we.
But can I just say though that,
in my opinion,
but Partey did. I mean, we talk about the connection with Partey and Saka was actually quite good.
It was good.
And actually, we were going on a very good, long, strong winning run when we had those two guys fit, because the tackling responsibility wasn't held on Xhaka. Xhaka was known for getting red cards, and Partey literally ruled the midfield and done well with it. Obviously, Arsenal will need to, think about what they're going to do in the coming window now, because obviously they're in the Europa League, so they're not going to. The thing is, if you look at the what the pundits say and the press, they talk about players that want to come to teams that are in Europe and not in Europe, and they say that certain players will not come because they want to play European football. I don't even know if Arsenal, even if we had Champions League, we would still be able to get certain players to come to us, because obviously it's still a project. It's still in the mix, as it were. My question is, and this is something that I'm probably going to put out to all of you. I don't mind who answers it first, but when you have those two windows where you can bolster your squad, if you're doing well and you bring new people in, they may disrupt the harmony of the squad, right? So a manager has to decide, do I bring people in that might wobble the cohesion, or do I stick and not do it and hope for the best? Do you think that Arteta was worried about the cohesion and that's why he didn't bother to bolster the squad?
No.
So then what would be the reason, in your opinion, why he didn't add to that squad?
I've read it was partly to do with financial fair play, but that doesn't add up, because you can only spend so much over a certain period of time. Ask Everton, because they're getting Burnley and Leeds are now gunning for them because they're taking it to court, or they're appealing because they spent more than they should have. So Arsenal were also in a precarious position with that, so they couldn't spend so much. But then and that's what I've read. But the thing is, we was trying to buy Vlahovic, which was 69 million. We really tried to Juventus. So we really did try to buy him. So if you was trying to buy that guy for 60 something million, so maybe they said we'll pay you 5 million a year or something. So maybe that's how they were going to structure it. But you still should have done the same thing for a centre midfield player, as in the Bruno guy, because he was only 35 million in the end. 35 million. And look, he would have been ideal. He would have been absolutely ideal to supplement Partey, Xhaka, and Lokonga. But Lokonga's not good enough. But no. There you go.
Sorry, just very quickly. Do you rate Tavares?
No.
Okay. Sorry, Chris, please continue.
Just on that point. I think also, I don't know for sure, but I think you've also got to look at the other side of it, that Arsenal spent the most in the summer.
I keep hearing that. That's nonsense, though. Sorry, it's nonsense. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, because you said that.
Go on.
It's really irritated me. We've spent the most in the summer, in one summer out of 20 years, and all I'm hearing for the rest of this 6 months is they spent. But everyone else has spent billions. Sorry, I didn't let you quit. It's just that triggered me. That triggered me.
Okay, no, and that's fine.
Good. Let it trigger it.
And it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
No, but wait, I didn't finish though.
I know. I hear you. I apologize. It's just
no worries. And I hear you.
And so it begins.
Because you're an Arsenal fan. You will know the deeper parts of it. But my thing, the reason why I'm saying that is because when Liverpool bought Diaz in the January, a lot of people were saying that is part of the summer allocation, right? In terms of the summertime, that means your budget is now cut because you've pulled the trigger early. So for me, the reason I say Arsenal spent the most, it's not because it's a tag to beat you with, but it's more a case of, have they looked at it and said, well, we've spent X amount in the summer, we are hoping that squad is going to be deep enough because we're going to have X amount, dependent on what competition we're going to be in next year for the next summer.
Yeah,
so
that's what's happening.
Yeah, right. So for me, that's what I think it could. But that's what I'm saying. It's a possibility.
No, that's what's happening. Arteta has said as
but they did.
Right. Okay. That's right.
They did factor in losing Aubameyang.
Yeah. Yes. That's it.
Because at the beginning of the season, Aubameyang is your ground.
Captain and main striker.
Yeah. Good point, Keith. Good point.
So that's where you would have needed to do some business to replace.
But he was awful. Piers Morgan keeps going on that we are Aubameyang, but since he signed his contract, he was awful. So
I think you're right, and I don't think Arteta was wrong to get rid of him.
No,
you've got to get rid of a player with a plan, haven't you?
Get a replacement. Yeah.
When you get to
so do you think? But didn't he say rather than replace, he's elevated Nketiah to regular?
No. They wanted Vlahovic. He put all his eggs in the Vlahovic basket.
Right.
That's what happened. They put all the eggs in the Vlahovic basket. That's what I can't pronounce it properly, but that's what they wanted. They desperately wanted that.
But it is notoriously difficult to get a player at the right price in January.
No.
We could have got him, but he didn't want to come. That's what the problem was.
But it's very
he wanted Juventus.
Yeah, it's very difficult to sign players in January. It's really hard. Managing time, the prices go up.
And then there was other players like and what you just said. There was a player. What's his name? Jonathan David or something like that. And there was
the Canadian.
And there was the other guy. There was another guy as well for Seville. Who's the Seville guy? The centre forward for Seville, Isaac. So they were the two alternatives. The Swedish. They were the two alternatives. We'll get those guys. But what Keith just said is what happened. What did you say? They put the price to silly money. So then that's we'll wait till the summer then. We're not going to pay stupid.
So so Roger, I've got a question for you. Would you sell Lukaku at a loss?
Well, it's not my money, so.
You drive it to the airport, would you, Roger?
Actually, no, I think
right now, how much did you pay for Lukaku? Not you, but how much?
97 million.
Right,
97 million. Do you know what? I think if we had another striker to either play alongside him or to challenge him, I think he might come good next year. Maybe I'm being a bit fanciful, and
I don't think you are. I don't
wishing for the best
striker.
I think you're right. He doesn't go bad overnight. We haven't perhaps played to his strengths, but
that's the point.
I think that he'll stay and see how it goes. I think we'll get another striker. I'm hoping it's Broja. There was even silly talk of Lewandowski coming, but he's 63,
he's Real Madrid bound, isn't he? Yeah.
It's a bit over the age limit, isn't it? So I don't know. I think he needs another striker to play alongside him. I think Chelsea need to tweak their game a little bit to play more to his strengths. If they do that, I can see him going on a decent run and putting the ball in. So would I sell him at this point in time? No. If he wants to stay, I would let him and look and see what we can do to maximise his contribution to the team, because it hasn't been great without a doubt. So on balance, no, I would keep him and give him a chance now to have a good pre-season and really come at it again second year. But that's why I'm not a football manager.
Well, so my question is, and if we're talking about, obviously we had some who we thought were going to be playing this at the beginning of the season. It looked like Chelsea were going to run up. I thought Chelsea were going to win the league this year. After the Champions League win, I thought that they were the team to beat. It ended up being the usual suspects: City and Liverpool. Chelsea are safe in third, and Tottenham have sneaked in like ninjas to get the final fourth spot. And they've done, and fair play, so they've done well.
I will say, Johnny, if you remember from Wednesday, I said Man City would win.
Yes.
Tottenham would get fourth, and Burnley would go down.
Yes,
you did.
And I don't
did.
I was just going to say, how much did you win? How much did you win?
First time I got it right.
I know you don't.
First time I got
very
it right.
true. So my question then is, in no particular order. I think I'm going to ask you a question, and I want to know your honest opinion, right? But over the period of this season, who would you say was the most disappointing player?
Are we getting onto our list now? Are we?
We're just going to go. I'm just going to add that, and then we're going to carry on talking, and then I'll feed the next one in, and we'll keep talking. But that specifically, who do you? Because obviously, from an outsider point, I'm disappointed in Lukaku.
Yeah.
He's not my disappointing player.
Okay.
But if I was a
Chelsea, you'll nominate him.
he would be an honourable mention.
Okay.
But he's not my. I'm just saying. If you want me to say who my most disappointing player is,
yes, please.
My most disappointing player this season is Pepe.
The
reason why,
really?
the reason why I put Pepe is because Pepe came to us. He had an amazing season in France, scored some amazing goals, has shown that he has all of the ability and has shown that he has all of the skill. And then he comes to Arsenal, and for whatever reason, whether he's annoyed at Arteta, whether he doesn't like the system, he has just not performed. And we have relied on him in some really big games, and he has been found wanting. So for me, the most disappointing player of the season is Pepe.
Which games did we rely on? Which games was he being relied on?
Well, okay, so
sorry to pull you on that, but
so I'll give an example. He came on as a sub only
as a sub.
He came on as a sub.
As a sub, that's not relying on him on the big game. Sorry, that's not. No, that's the thing. I think he's been treated awfully.
No.
Awfully. Yeah.
When you say okay, so explain to me, why do you think that he's so? Was he starting at the beginning of the season?
I don't think he was really. Was he?
At the beginning, he was. Yeah,
he's been there 3 years. And
he was starting.
He's done nothing.
Yeah. Well, this is it again. This is the perception. He's done nothing. He's not done what people may have expected based on the good season.
He was a regular player for us. He was the first team player, regular.
Okay, I'd like to see the stats, but the thing is, he's one of our top scorers in the prior seasons.
So yes, he was.
So that's my point. Is that he outscores the other players.
But this is what I'm saying. You said the most disappointing player. This is someone who I want to go in that curve. I want to see him improving and getting better, not doing well for 2 years and then this year he's dipped. I mean, has he had a life-changing injury where obviously he's been out on the sidelines and he's having to try and rebuild his career? No, he has been available to us. Arteta doesn't trust him.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And when we put him on, what does he do?
You're putting him on 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's not. He's a confidence player. He's a goal scoring player. He's a winger. Those kind of players need to be trusted. That you starting them from the beginning of the game. They're playing the 90 minutes. They know that if they take on their man, sometimes they'll beat their man, and sometimes they won't beat their man. When they know it's all on me, I've only got 5. It don't work. It really don't work.
So that was my most disappointing player. Nana, who was your most disappointing player? Let me now go at you. I'm going to come at you.
No, wait, guys.
I'm coming at you now.
The one thing I will say is, look, even if our players are called out, I don't think we can keep defending, because ultimately this is the reason why we put this out there. We're going to have a difference of opinion. So ultimately, I think it's better that whoever's saying their piece, let them say. I don't think we can defend.
So wait, hold on, Chris. You say that now. You
because you guys were listen. You guys threw the grenades in. Like,
you allow Nana to gun you for 5 minutes.
No. I was doing this. I was doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was doing the count.
You allowed Nana to roast my decision.
I apologize.
Johnny, what I will say is I do agree that he's not done as in his overall the whole time he's been with us. He's not performed overall as well as the perception was when he joined us. He's not been nowhere near as good as what I thought he was going to be. But when you look back, he only had one good season in France where he scored about 10 goals from open play, and the rest were penalties. So it made it look like he was a good goal scorer. He wasn't. And if you look at his Arsenal record, he actually did score quite a few goals.
1, 2, 3.
Right. So, Nana, I ask again. Obviously,
Okay.
I put my neck out on the block.
I'm sorry, Johnny. Sorry.
So I didn't realise it had to be from your own team. Did it have to be?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay. I'm not having a go. Now, this is the first thing I will start off with. I'm not having a go at this player because he's not in my team. And I actually think this player is a very good player. And I think he's been maligned in an unfair way. Harry Maguire has not had a great season. But I personally, when Man United signed him, I would have had him at Arsenal at his form at Leicester and his early form at Man United. I think he's a good player. And when he plays for England, he's good as well. So I actually think he's a good player. So I know people take the mickey out of him and all the rest of it. But for Man United only, he's had a disappointing season. For Man United only. But I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player.
Okay, so
he's performed well below his levels.
That's it. And that's what I'm saying. From what we know he can do.
Wait. What's going on here? You're going to get the count.
It's okay for him to run me down. But when Nana gets to say who he thinks is disappointing, we're like, okay then. We agree with you, Nana. Okay, Roger, for you, who is the most disappointing player of the season?
Well, Lukaku's name was mentioned, and I'd have to say Lukaku. Not because he's a bad player. We know that's not true. But you think last year Chelsea won the Champions League without a striker. Everyone said they needed a striker. He was supposed to be that piece of the jigsaw, which they got him, and then everyone was really expecting great things. Now, as we've said, it's not necessarily his fault. They haven't played to his strengths. But over the season, he has been underperforming. He's been underwhelming. And so from that heady heights of thinking, we've got the world-class striker. This is it. We're going to push on. We're going to challenge. And we didn't. I'd say, that's been the disappointment, really.
But he won you the World Club Championship.
One.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on.
Yeah.
3.
It's okay for you.
5.
We were hoping to win the league with
the World Club Championship.
It's over.
You won the World Club
We were hoping to win the league with him, and we didn't. So from that point of view,
he scored the goals that put you to win a cup that you have never won, ever. And you say that he's the most disappointing.
Let's get back to Pepe.
No.
Keith, I think there's still some discussion there to be had.
Right, I'm gonna
who is your most disappointing player?
I had Lukaku as well. Because he cost £97 million.
Yeah,
has proved with Everton, with United, with Inter Milan that he is a top striker, and he hasn't been a top striker this season. And he hasn't posted the numbers. Simple as that. For whatever reason, I would have Lukaku because I think that's not that his transfer fee is his fault. I do come back to that. But for me, Lukaku is he should have won Chelsea. The script was he was going to win Chelsea the league, and that hasn't happened. Yeah,
Nana, what are you going to say?
I think Roger said it earlier. You've got to play to his strengths, though. So I think Tuchel is a great manager. He's a great. He's a great manager, but you've got to play to his strengths. If you're not playing to his strengths,
we can't do this. We can't. If we defend every single one, we'll be here till tomorrow. We can't do this. We cannot do this. I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. That can be a different show. Yes, we can't do it. We can't.
Okay, Chris. So, who's your most disappointing player?
Sadly, and I rate this player. I just think he hasn't had enough game time and so on and so forth. But mine was actually Jordan Sancho. He's a brilliant footballer. The numbers he used to post in the Bundesliga, I know it's a different league and so on and so forth. I know he's in a different team, different country. I get all of that, but I was excited to see him come to this league, right? To play for Manchester United. I was like, he is going to tear this league to shreds. And at the moment, he hasn't been given enough opportunities to do so. It was not that he's been poor, but I was just disappointed that I didn't see more of him in the kind of Bundesliga form. That's what it was for me.
Keith, can I ask you a question in line with that? Isn't Jordan Sancho experiencing the Ronaldo effect? That anyone that plays with Ronaldo is in his shadow. And whether he plays well or not, if Ronaldo is playing, he takes over a club. He did it at Real Madrid. He did it at Juventus. And he's doing it now again at United.
I'd like to think that these young players can learn from Ronaldo. That's what you'd hope, wouldn't you? You'd think if I was Marcus Rashford or Mason Greenwood.
Greenwood? Okay, Greenwood, let's just forget about him right now.
At the beginning of the season, you've got these young players
I didn't laugh.
who are in a dressing room with Cristiano Ronaldo, who is the best example of winger turned forward in world football that there's probably ever been. And you're thinking you've got two choices. You can either try and compete with the guy.
Oh, did you say who's ever seen? Oh, I'd say Henry. Henry was a winger.
Guys, we are going so off the point.
Henry was a winger. Turn striker.
We ain't gonna finish.
Nana, was he a winger?
When he said it, I was gonna say the same thing, but I remembered what Chris said, so I just.
We're never gonna finish tonight. I'll tell you that.
I defy you. No, Chris, you threw me down in the bus. How many times you throw me under the bus? You're getting thrown. Listen. Anyway, I'm joking.
You've got Christian. Whether you rate Cristiano Ronaldo higher than anybody else or lower than anybody else, Cristiano Ronaldo is a living legend of the game. Fact.
Yes.
And he was and those players, to have him in the dressing room, have got two choices. They can either go, I'm going to learn from this guy. I'm going to soak it up like a sponge. I'm going to watch how he trains. I'm going to watch how he looks after himself.
I read that they were. At first,
well, I don't know, but whatever's happened to those players around him.
Because I read what he was eating. They were watching what he was eating. They were copying what. That's what I read. They were doing. It's
the Ronaldo effect. They ended up getting stuck into the vortex.
It's hard to know what's gone on there, but those players haven't stepped up in the time they've been there for whatever reason, and they've got to take that responsibility on themselves. They can't go blaming other people. Their performances. It's down to them to train, to do the job, and not to worry about whether Cristiano Ronaldo's taking them under their wing or not. Or, at the end of the day, Cristiano Ronaldo can play with other players. He's proved that. He played brilliantly with Karim Benzema for years. He can do that. He's not he's a prima donna, but he's also if he wasn't a team player, he wouldn't have had the success he's had. So those players have a responsibility.
Okay, so the next question is, who is the most improved player? Nana. Oh, Keith, sorry, Keith. Keith had his hand up.
Oh, well, I'm going to say Ødegaard because to me,
good shout.
When he signed for Arsenal last season, when he came on loan, I'm thinking this guy's going straight back to Real Madrid. He's garbage. And then
Keith, you're on a warning. You're on a warning.
Let me explain something to you. Okay, sorry.
Keith, that's your first warning.
When he makes the signing,
I will start counting. I will start counting.
We went arguing with people's choices. Unbelievable. And he comes in, and frankly, he's been your best player this season. He has driven you forward in ways that I didn't think he was capable of.
Agreed.
So he has surprised me how good he is. And he's been great. He's been great for Norway as well, isn't he? He's done.
Yeah.
So I think he's a very, very improved player. I mean, you know, there's a few honourable mentions, I suppose, you could give out there.
Don't mention it. Let's hear what they've got to say first before you do your honourables. Before we do honourables, Nana, who is your most improved player?
Okay, so I'm going from last season, from this season and last season. So I'm not going from different, so just most improved players for this season. My man, Thiago. Last season, all I kept hearing is, he slows the game down for Liverpool. He slows the game down. He slows the game down. He slows Liverpool down. All this nonsense. This season, the man is sublime. His no-look passing, his one-touch passing, his round-the-corner passing. He's adjusted to the speed maybe of the Premier League, so maybe he knows now he's got to give it quicker. But the man has been awesome and the most improved player, in my opinion. Awesome player.
Excellent. Chris?
I was in between two. And I'll go with a one. Declan Rice. For me, when I saw him at the Euros, I didn't realise this guy covers this much ground and so on and so forth. So I was surprised why he kept on getting picked for England. And this year, I've watched him. And maybe it's just I was a bit slow on the uptake, but he has surprised me a lot. And so, he was my pick. I won't say the other one until we do honourables, but Declan Rice for me.
And Roger?
That's difficult, really. I don't know about most improved because I perhaps haven't watched as much of football as I'd have liked to. I think the breakout player for me would have been Conor Gallagher. He came into the midfield at Palace and he just absolutely tore it up. And he was getting mentioned every week how good he was and what have you. So I think as a breakout player, he just went from sort of like 0 to 60 in a very short space of time. I think when he comes back, hopefully to Chelsea next year, he's going to be an integral part of our midfield. But as I said, I don't know if you mean the most improved and whether you could say that of him, but certainly for me, the one who just arrived on the scene as a breakout player was that guy.
He was actually my honourable mention, Roger. He was my honourable mention.
So before we so if you care,
and Pepe, of course.
Oh, refuse it. No, Roger, awesome. That's a second. Sorry. Roger, that's your second warning. That's your second warning, Roger.
So my actual, who I believe is the most improved player, is Bowen at West Ham. Now, I did not even know who he was. I literally did not know who this boy was until this season. And I have just watched him grow from strength to strength. And Bowen he's now a force. Yeah. The fact that West Ham, I mean, I know we've mentioned Rice, but you talk about someone like Bowen who has turned West Ham around and made them into a very, very difficult team to beat. And actually, he is someone who we need to keep an eye out for moving forwards. If West Ham can keep hold of him, I know a lot of the talk is of Rice being sold, but they need to keep hold of Bowen. But that's just who I think is, for me, the most improved.
Chris, is he another Liverpool target?
He supposedly. Mark has put a shout in the comments actually of the most improved.
Hello there, Mark. Joel Linton.
Brilliant shout.
Can I just say that Joel Linton, right, under Steve Bruce was a failed striker, right? He was someone that just couldn't hit a barn door. He now sits deeper and plays in midfield. And he's just turned into a completely different player. It's brilliant. You don't think to yourself, hold on a minute. Like someone's whispered in his ear and said, mate, I know you like to be a striker, but actually you're more influenced. You'd be better in the midfield. And he's gone, no, I'm not a midfielder. Just give it a go. Just try it. See what happens. Look at him now. So yes, Mark, that is definitely a good shout. Definitely someone who has improved. And I mean, what's your take? Anything else you want to add?
My honourable mention was what Roger mentioned, Conor Gallagher. Brilliant. Development this year as well, but I think Rice for me he wasn't on the radar for me, and I think that's just me just not paying attention to him. And this year, I just think he's been brilliant.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, didn't he have a great? Wasn't he? Sorry, Keith.
Have we had yours yet?
Who, me? Yeah, mine was Thiago.
Thiago, yeah.
Yeah,
so we had Odegaard, Thiago, Rice, Bowen, and Gallagher.
Everybody's shout's been excellent, I'd say.
Yeah.
As another one, honourable for me, Bernardo Silva.
Most improved, though.
Yeah, because I've always seen him as a player that he's always been a bit of a squad player at City, and yet first half of the season, he's leading the line for them. Considering they haven't got a striker, a lot of the goal scoring responsibility kind of fell to him. Particularly he's dropped off a bit in the second half, but before Christmas, I was thinking Bernardo Silva finally looks like a stick, because I wasn't sure that he did for a couple of years. But anyway, that was. So I thought he was quite an improved player.
Okay, so the next one on here. Oh, get him in the right place, back and forward. Yes. So the next question would be then, is the moment of the season. What would you say is the standout moment for you in the 2021-22 season? What would you say was that one pivotal moment that you thought, wow? Chris?
Do you know what? There were two, and I hope you. Am I allowed to say
say your one?
I had two as well. And I think everyone's going to say no, but I think everyone's going to say one of them is the same. I think.
Yeah, probably right. So the one I'm going to go for then is Anfield, Liverpool, Man United, Cristiano Ronaldo. The ovation that the Liverpool fans did. Now, as a Liverpool fan and the whole rivalry and all the rest of it, right? That gave me faith in just. As a people, we were the first team that they came up against after that announcement, and we showed a massive amount of respect. Now, we might think, well, you should do that as human beings anyway, but there was a possibility that with the world watching, we could have got that wrong. So there's been a lot of other things going on during the season, but that for me, it restored my faith in Liverpool fans, because ultimately they get a lot of flack, and when they do things like this and show respect or they show support, it's not really widely reported on from my point of view. But I just thought, I applauded them for that. It was massive for me.
Class act. And not to be forgotten, Arsenal fans did it as well.
They did. They did.
They did it at the Emirates.
So we'll just forget that Liverpool booed the national anthem, right? Yeah, shall we just do that, Chris? Shall we just forget that they booed the Royal Family and never come?
Move on.
Terrible fans.
Moment of the season.
For me?
Yeah, go Keith.
Christian Eriksen.
That was the other one,
and that's what I was going to say. That's my other one as well. That's my one. Yeah.
Turning out for the first and that moment where Brandon Williams, I think.
Yeah. Oh, he was about to hit him, and he was like,
"Yeah, that was great."
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if I've stolen everyone's thunder with that one, but that was my.
No. I had two, but that was one of them. But I thought someone else is bound to say that as well.
Yeah.
There's another one on similar lines.
Roger, what would you say is your moment of the season?
Not in the Premier League, but for me, it was when Chelsea won the Super Cup and then the Club World Cup. Now, I know there's a lot of people who deride the tournaments and say that they're nothing and they don't mean anything. But listen, you've got to win the Champions League to get into that, and then you've got to win the European. The Super Cup to get into the Club World Cup, and whether it means anything or not, it meant that I got to see my team win everything in a lot. So that was it was amazing. We've won it all. We probably never win them again. And then from that high, the sanctions being imposed upon the club, because I do believe that had an effect on the players and what was happening around the club. I think that we've lost players like Rudiger, who really couldn't negotiate because everything was put on hold. I think we went from for me, a moment when we were right up there. We were saying we were the best team in the world and all of that sort of stuff, to then suddenly finding out we didn't even know if we had a future. So, those were the moments that really stood out and affected me as a Chelsea supporter this year. But as I said, I've seen my club win everything, and there's other people who will knock the trophies down and say they're not worth it. They'd take them if they could win them.
No, they are. And credit where credit is due. Big shout out to Mark Fraser there, saying seeing the Sports Direct side coming out of St James's Park. Now, obviously, for many years, Newcastle was owned by someone who just didn't have. He says he was a Newcastle fan, but it didn't show. It didn't really show in the field. And obviously, when he finally left, Newcastle could start again. Who would have ever thought that Newcastle when they started again, would end up becoming one of the richest clubs in the world? Absolutely amazing. Nana, who have I not?
It's you, my friend.
Oh, it's me. Right, okay. So my
Ericsson wasn't mine, by the way. So
sorry, Nana. Sorry.
I said he might have, if we could do two.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah,
mine was more light-hearted, and it was to do with my club. It was the moment when Ramsdale went to take the goal kick, and the opposing fans went, well, you're not, and they bleep, and then he turned around and that was funny.
I love it. And that was a great.
That was my moment of humor, anyway.
Do you know? That's very true. It was when it was. Believe it or not, that moment made me realize that we not only did we love him. But actually, we've got confidence in him. We didn't have that with Leno. We didn't have the confidence. But we finally got a goalkeeper who, we spent a lot of money on him, and people laughed at us when we bought him. You know, the abuse that we got when we bought him. But he showed his worth very, very quickly.
Hadn't he got relegated 3 years running with 3?
Yeah, that's what it is. I was scared. I
thought his name might have been Jonah.
I was scared. I thought, oh my goodness, why have we signed this guy?
But the powers that be, Edu, Art, and Arteta, they saw the potential in him, and some of the people that train him say that he's brilliant. So let's just
he's got character. I like that.
He's got character. Yeah, exactly. Now, my moment is slightly different to all of yours, because my moment was when the Super Cup was announced. My moment was watching almost unanimously all
You mean
clubs,
the European Super League?
The Super League, yeah. When that was announced, sorry, I said it wrong. When that was announced, watching Gary Neville lose it on live TV, and then watching the public outcry, just watching the way it didn't matter what club you represented.
Can I just pull you up on something here, Johnny?
Go on.
That's last season.
Yeah.
That was April last year.
But this is Arsenal living in the past, isn't it?
Yeah. It was
No
last
way.
year, bro. It was last year. The shows that we've had have been they've been a year's anniversary, bro.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a year old.
It's a year old, bro.
Lie.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Do you know what? In my head, it was this season.
No. Those shows that we've had on TV and all that, they're to show the anniversary of.
I haven't seen those shows. I didn't know there were shows.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't know. I've missed that.
Oh yeah. It's a good show in it. Yeah,
no, I've missed that. So, you know what? I'm sitting there thinking. I remember. Really, was that last season?
April last year.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then
All
you
right,
know what? You know what? I don't. Then I have to apologize then, because I don't have a moment then, because okay, I've got to think off the head. What about the
fan who had the heart attack? That's a good one.
Oh dear.
Dang.
I don't know, but I actually didn't realize that was a lot. I thought it was this season. Seriously, that was okay. Okay, people, I apologize. That
No
was
worries. No
you know
worries.
what? I didn't even research that one because that just stuck in my head. I was like, oh, I remember that. That was a moment in my footballing history where I thought we're all the same. Every fan knows this isn't right. This is just big companies just trying to make even more money. And when we
do the show on this, it'll be interesting because
I think that's so. I can only apologize for that. I've had a mind blip where I actually thought it was this season that we.
No worries, no worries.
Johnny, save it for next year's end of season review.
Yes, I'll save it for next
year. Roger, that's actually 3.
Yeah.
Behave, please.
He's had 2 yellows. Okay, so then let's go next. Oh, I have to apologize. I thought it was this season.
No worries, don't worry.
We have to go on then with the next one, which was the game of your season. What was for you the best game of the season? That was, has a mention that you thought what you came out of that game and thought, wow, what a game.
I'll go first if you want.
Go on then, Chris.
Sorry, Keith. Old Trafford. Against you.
What was that score?
5-0.
Oh.
To Liverpool against Man United.
Oh.
Like, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing, if I'm going to be honest with you. First half, 4-0 up. Like, just the defending was just I can't even speak about it now. I'm just so look, we've lost Keith.
He's so disgusted. He was so disgusted.
I think, do you know what? I'll leave it there. I want to be friends with Keith.
No, bring it. No, continue.
No, leave it.
I'll leave it there. But it was just, I was speechless.
You were speechless.
Okay, Nana.
Well, mine, 3rd of October 2022, I think it was, Liverpool 2, Man City 2, was the best game I saw this season. That was the 2 best sides in Europe, probably in the world this season, in my opinion. Just showed the quality from both sides was top notch.
Yeah.
Awesome game of football. Game of football.
Mark has just put one in the group. Oh.
What do you say?
Oh.
Arsenal 4, Chelsea 2.
He's going to get us into trouble.
I was surprised at that scoreline, but it wasn't the best game. The best game of football was Liverpool 2, Man City 2.
That was a great game. Sorry, I'll just leave that on there because obviously it's one of our viewers that's come in. Thank you so much for stating what was a good game football, quality game of football. Roger, what was your game of the season?
My game of the season, it wasn't a Premier League match, but it's when Chelsea went to Real Madrid in the away leg of the Champions League.
Yeah.
And we were no one gave us a chance. I didn't give us a chance.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get absolutely steamrolled because they were by far the better side. And who'd have believed we were 3-0 up and we were bossing the game. And then Karim Benzema and Vinicius Jr. turned up and did us in. But for like, I think we had about 10, 15 minutes on the clock and we were beating Real Madrid in the Bernabeu when no one expected it. And Chelsea didn't really expect it. So, for that amount of time, it was absolutely spectacular. And obviously we ended up on the wrong end of the result and we were out of the Champions League. But what a night of football that was. Absolutely.
That was a great game. That was a great game.
So hello, Mrs. Morrison. Welcome to the stream. He's actually said, where is Rob? Unfortunately, Rob was unwell. So I think we worked a little bit too hard today. So he's resting. But he'll be back with us. Don't worry. He'll be back ready and fighting and ready to give his comments later on. Arguably next season now. Chris?
I've done mine.
Oh, so who have I not done?
That's me.
Oh, sorry, Keith. Keith, what would you say?
I had a couple. I mean, you could pretty much pick any Real Madrid game in the Champions League this year.
Yeah,
they've all been unbelievable, haven't they? But I had Premier League, I suppose, as the brief.
Yeah.
But for me, I know none of you are going to put this because it's a Tottenham win, but Tottenham City at the Etihad. That campaign masterclass in how to beat a top side. The drama, the late drama. Yeah, I mean, that was very entertaining. Watching TV was entertaining.
I must admit, you have taken my thunder there because that was where I was going as well.
You were going to pick a Tottenham win as your game of the season.
No. The champion. Sorry, did you? I thought you said the Real Madrid. Oh, you started out with the Real Madrid. Sorry. You said any Real Madrid game would be what would be class. I think the fact that the Real Madrid Man City game for me was the most exciting football I've watched this season. Real Madrid were out for the count. Man City, if Grealish had, that he ran on the left, cut inside, if he had scored that goal, it would have been over. And then by the end of that game, they were out of the Champions League. And I just thought, I've just watched another one of those wow moments where it's very much like when Liverpool did it to Barcelona with that, they just turned it around, Real Madrid. And that's part of the reason why I am actually so excited to watch the Champions League final this year. Because I feel like two of the best exciting teams are going to be playing each other for that tournament. And there's been a few mismatches in years gone by, but this is actually, I can't call it. I can't say that Liverpool, because Real Madrid will have, Benzema, give him a chance, he will score. Vinicius Jr. is going to run them ragged, but Salah is also going to run them ragged. Mane is going to run them. It's going to be an exciting game, and it's just, if you ask me who I think might win, I still think Liverpool will win it, but I think it's going to be a really exciting game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that does pan out next week. Right, okay. So, goal of the season, then, gentlemen. What was for you the goal that just made you go, wow?
It was hard to think of one. I had to go and watch a reel, but there was only one that came to mind.
Okay.
That I didn't watch, I remember, and then when I watched it back, it remained my top one. Mo Salah against Watford.
Yeah, that's what I've got. That's exactly what. Sorry, Keith. That's what I've got.
Yeah. Is this the one where he goes inside, and
I mean, his one against City was pretty good as well, similar, but that Watford one was just out of this world.
Yeah. So Nana, that was your one as well.
Well, what I've actually written down, and I was the same as Keith. I thought, what goal was the best goal? And I thought, what's the goal that comes to my mind? And that was the goal that came to my mind. So I couldn't think of other goals. So I went and did the same. I went and watched it, and then because it was on YouTube, then it showed me as well the one from Man City. So they were very, very similar goals. Yeah. And then I kept watching them both, and I was thinking, which one was the better one? Which one? I thought, well, the one that came to my mind instantly was the Watford one. So on that basis, but they're very similar, but they're very messy, type goals. So that's it. Yeah, Mo Salah versus Watford.
Roger?
Forgive me, I've got a real pain in my back. I'm trying to find a comfortable position here. It's all right. For me, I can't remember goals like you guys obviously can. I mean, at the time, I think, wow, great goal. But so the one that brought me the most, not the greatest goal perhaps, but the one that brought me the most pleasure was the first game of the season, Chelsea Crystal Palace. And I know it's again a Chelsea player, but we had a guy starting in the first team in the Premier League for the first time, and that was Chalobah. And
yeah.
He whacked the ball from, it was about 30, 35 yards out. For a young player playing in his debut in the Premier League to score a goal like that, he just went to his knees. And I thought, I was really pleased for the lad, because everyone says that at Chelsea you don't get a chance to come through. In the last few years, that's not been true. They've been given a chance, and he's come through, and he's more than staked a claim for a regular position in the team. And that goal was, something special. So, that was the one that gave me the most pleasure, for a young lad to come in, first match in the Premier League, and score a cracker like that. There were probably better goals. I have no doubt that, that many other goals were much better than that. But that brought me a lot of joy, a lot of satisfaction.
Rudiger's hit against Vet.
Yeah, that was good. Well, and Kovacic did one as well. Similar thing with Kovacic.
Sorry, what did you say, Chris?
No, what Roger just said, he said Kovacic, and that was against us. Beautiful goal.
Yeah.
Beautiful goal.
I liked Rudiger's. Sorry, mine was Rudiger, but it wasn't so much for the goal, it was for the celebration. It was for what he did afterwards. It made me laugh because he was so shocked that he had given it such a welly, and he's running down the road. His eyes are wide open. It just made me laugh. I thought good on him. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He was when they lose, he's angry. You can actually see the anger in him, and I love.
I like that.
Yeah, I love that energy that he's. You know what? I'm not happy with this. Like we could have won this game, and you know, this is someone who, and I know we've talked about this before. You know, you've got someone like Rudiger who is actually leaving the club, but he's still giving 100%. And you've got Christensen, who is also leaving the club, that can't be bothered. Two different sides of the spectrum, two different attitudes. But yeah, it was a great goal. I mean, I'm going to say that one only because I just remember laughing at his celebration. Right, so the final one.
Whoa, my guy. What's going on here?
Sorry, I didn't realize I didn't ask you, Chris. Sorry. Yes.
What
is your goal?
To tell the truth, it was I had two. One of them's gone. So for me, the other one was Martinelli against Watford away. I thought that the passing before
take the ball left and run.
Yeah, I think someone crossed it in and he just top bins. And I just thought the possession of play beforehand. And then the cross that came in and he's just whipped it into the top. And I just think, what is this that I'm seeing? Like, these are young guys and this is the football they're playing in the Premiership away from home. It's ridiculous. So, it wasn't going to be my choice, but where the other one's gone, that goal was right up there.
Was your other one Salah, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, had to be in there. I mean, tonight you'll no doubt probably see it on Match of the Day goal of the season. It'll be in there. It'll be in there.
I mean, honourable mention's got to go to pretty much any James Ward-Prowse free kick.
Yeah,
particularly the one against.
Yeah.
Might as well be a penalty, right?
Where it's just
might as well be a penalty.
Out. It's crazy.
He's that good that it might as well be a penalty. Scary, isn't it? I can see Almiron in Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. I don't know the goal, but I'll have to check it out afterwards. But that was what Mark Fraser said, that it was Almiron. So I don't actually know that goal, but I would imagine that, you know, scoring at home is always going to be good. What's my wife just said? Wow, all this talk about football has sent the kids through. Excellent news. Yes, well done. So the last one then, gentlemen. The last one is, who is your player of the season?
But not at your own club, you said.
Not at your own club.
Not at your own club, according to...
Yeah. Oh, that's so difficult for me.
And me.
Difficult, isn't it? You want to...
I'll go first.
Yeah, go on then.
I would have to say De Bruyne, because he's Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
You know, he always has an impact and a presence in the match. And, you know, his position, his play, his movement, everything about the guy is absolutely class. So I would have said Mason Mount for obvious reasons. But if we can't choose our own player, I'd say Kevin De Bruyne, to me, has been the standout player of the season. So,
yeah. Okay,
Mark has said a very, very, very good shout as well. But I don't like Tottenham, so he's not for me.
Wow.
No, I'm joking. Son is awesome, world class. Him and Kane are world class players.
Well, they're golden boot.
They weren't my choice. They weren't my choice. I actually basically they announced as Kevin De Bruyne as the player of the season for the Premier League yesterday, and I said to my wife, look, I've got this written down. You've seen this written down before they've announced that. I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. The man was awesome this season, like Rogers just said. And then they showed his stats. It's all good. It shows that great minds think alike. Awful seldom differ. But one or the other. But anyway, I think he's been awesome this season, like Rogers said. 15 goals. In the Premier League, they showed that he's the number one ranking scorer. Assists 7, Premier League number 2, chances created 82 for a Premier League midfielder, second, goals outside the box 5, Premier League rankings 1. So that's all the stats. But Keith said something the other day in one of our conversations. It's not on the stats. It's when you watch the game. So forget the stats. Even though he's good on the stats, watch him play, and you can just see he's a Rolls Royce midfielder. Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
No, that's good. No, it's fine. Keith?
Okay. I mean, I had honourable mentions to De Bruyne. He was definitely one that but I'm going to go for Bowen.
Yeah.
Just, I know he's been mentioned already tonight, but
Yeah.
I just think I don't think anyone in the top 3 or 4 has been. De Bruyne has been probably the best. And Salah's obviously had another great season, but I don't know if anyone's been really outstanding for their club and shoulders in the way that Bowen has been head and shoulders the best player at West Ham this season. Both statistics.
What, better than you think he's played better than Rice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally. So I think he's been head and shoulders their best player this season in a way that perhaps other players haven't stood out maybe for their club. So that's who I would give it to. Again, you know, I mean, he's in double figures of goals and assists as well. So the stats sort of back that up.
Chris?
So my choice is gone, but I had somebody else as well.
Who would you have?
It was come on, KDB. By miles, like he is brilliant. But because he's gone, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have a clean sweep here, but somebody else who I just think was consistent and just doesn't get enough credit is Rudiger. I think for someone who, with all the turmoil and just not getting, contract not getting sorted and all the rest of it, he has really shown that he is a leader. If you're in his team, you're so happy that he's alongside you because he is just, oh man. And I just thought it's such a shame that the Premiership's going to lose such a player because I think he's not been the reason why they're where they are. It's got nothing to do with him. He has been a rock, right? And when you think of what he went through this last year when he was sidelined, it just makes what he's done and where he's come from just even more impressive for me. So for me, I'll go with Rudiger because of KDB's got enough votes.
He looks like he's almost like a if you give him the ball in the midfield and he runs at you, that's it. As soon as he starts the motor going and he runs, because he makes space for himself just by his pace.
Wait, who are you talking about?
De Bruyne.
Okay.
He makes space. As soon as he gets that ball deep and turns and runs, it's almost like, how do you stop him? He's that good. Now, the thing about it is that, and Chris is going to be really shocked at who I'm going to say now. In fact, I know Chris is never...
I think I know who you're going to pick.
Go on. Okay, I will be honest. I promise you, I will be totally honest. If you're going
to pick the number 10. You're going to pick Mane. You're picking Mane, aren't you? You're picking Mane.
No.
Good.
CR7.
No, in my face.
Believe it or not, I was. It was between.
He plays for his club. Roger.
It was between, because I can't pick my own club. It was between Ronaldo and Salah. I was gonna, and I'll tell you why. As much as I have beaten down on Salah this season, I have, because the end of the season I thought it was garbage. I did. I thought it had gone off the boil. The African Cup of Nations broke him, in my opinion. Before African Cup of Nations, he was on fire. When he came back from the Cup of Nations, he was mute. He was struggling, and then obviously, I think that has overtaken him. But the reason why I have picked him is, even though he has had not even bad, but he's had a less than quality end of the season, he is still our top striker in this country. He's still top assists. He's still making waves for Liverpool. And as much as, honestly, I've preferred Mane. I've always preferred Mane to Salah. You and I have had this conversation many times. Where I liked Mane better than Salah, but you can't argue with Salah's. The stats are clear. If he gets the ball on that right side, there's a very good chance you're going to foul him, or he's going to score, or he's going to pass it to someone who's going to score a goal. And it's, the fact, I'm glad for Son that he's shared in the spoils for top goals. But when you then start looking at the other bits, the assists, no one can touch him.
Yeah, well, Salah will win the Golden Boot because of assists, won't he?
No, they share
they
it.
get one each. They
Oh,
get
do
one
they
each.
share it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Do you remember when Mane, Salah, and Aubameyang all got 22? They all shared. They all had
Oh,
one.
did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, sharing.
Oh, just to give you an example, Mohamed Salah and Son both scored 23
22.
goals.
Oh, was it 23? 23
goals.
Okay, sorry.
But assists, Salah's got 13. Son has got 7.
Okay.
The goals per minute, Salah's actually, his ratio is better. Total shots, there's more of them. Goal conversion, actually, and accuracy, Son is better.
Okay.
Son is actually better. But, in general, that would have been my player of the season. And actually, if Liverpool win the Champions League in a couple of weeks' time, in a week's time or so, will we now start saying that even though Benzema has been highlighted for the Ballon d'Or, are we going to say that Salah is worthy of it?
It's worth mentioning with that the Ballon d'Or isn't awarded until November.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
not
true.
This season. And also, I'm wondering, the other thing I was thinking about after Wednesday's show, I wonder whether they'll hold off until after the World Cup.
Yes.
Okay, it's a late World Cup, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
It might end up being, so there there's other factors to take into account, isn't there? But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, gentlemen, that was episode 20. That was a great
Mark
show.
Fraser said Cancelo, I think.
Cancelo. Yeah. I put him on the screen. That is also another honourable mention. We have had an absolutely amazing season. We've had some great football. Well done to Man City for winning the Premier League. Well done to Liverpool for winning the FA Cup and the League Cup. Well done to Chelsea for winning the World Club Championship. There have been some great games this season. Well done for Manchester United for getting Europa League. And well done for Arsenal for getting the Europa League. So it has been a great year. And ForMorSport will be back. I believe that we will probably do some discussions over the summer period. We've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the Super League and whatnot.
We'll do a Champions League show, will you?
Champions League. I think we have to do a Champions League. Please, Nana, what is your question?
It's a very quick question. It's only to Chris. Basically, if Liverpool only end up winning the league, and when I say only, I'm saying only like this, because I think worthy titles, the League Cup and the FA Cup, and they don't win the Champions League, I think they will win the Champions League. But if they only win those two, they've already got their parade thing. Do you think they should still have that parade?
Mate, I'm going with my son. Yeah. Like it's an opportunity. It's one of those things. Like again, I go back to it. It's a Jurgen Klopp Liverpool. He hadn't won these trophies. He's got them in the bag this time, right? If you don't win the Champions League, as a Liverpool fan, the highs and lows that you've gone through this season, the places you've gone, the games that you've won, I'm not going to knock it. You understand? You lose the Champions League, it's just the way it is. For me, the biggest one, and I know this is going to sound quite wild, the biggest one is your bread and butter. It's the Premiership. So for all of us here, we haven't done it. City have done it, and congratulations to them. But ultimately, we're in with a chance on the others. If we didn't win next week, I'm still going to go. I'm enjoying the moment with my son. I'm going to see trophies we've never won before. And it's been a really, really good season for me.
Love that answer. I love that answer. And was you saying yes as well, Roger? Rogers, love it.
Of course, he's got to celebrate when your club wins.
Love it.
When your club wins, you celebrate and you love it.
Good.
I took my son up to Stamford Bridge.
Not many.
We got a picture of the Champions League and the league and the FA Cup. I think back in 2012 when we won it.
Yep.
So I got photographs of that with me and Rob. And you celebrate when you win because they don't come around too often, especially with Man City.
The reason I asked is because of the celebration police seem to be out in force recently. So, why are you celebrating this one? Why are you celebrating? They're trophies that are hard to win. If everybody was winning them, Everybody's winning them. Everybody was celebrating.
I've been a fan.
As long as you celebrate fans and not on the pitch.
Yeah. For me, Nana. Do you know what it is, Nana? Yeah. Right. I don't recall let's say the Kenny Dalglish era, right? Yes, yeah. So for me, I come in Graham Souness, awful. Roy Evans, not that great either, right? Yeah. Houllier won a few things and whatever, but I've been a supporter when they had Roy Hodgson in charge, mate. Roy Hodgson. Do you know what I mean? Like
you appreciate
anything that you get, anything you can get, you should enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? You should enjoy it.
Love it. And Keith, my son was at Crystal Palace versus Man United today, and he said they were shouting in the crowd today, he kicks who he wants. He kicks who he wants. Patrick Vieira, he kicks who he wants.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for supporting For More Sport this season. Before you go, Roger, because I know you're quick on the draw. The champions. Oh, I see. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, sorry, I know you've been holding. The Champions League is on the 28th of May. We have got. We'll have to talk about that. That's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. That was For More Sport. We need to go because Roger needs to go to the toilet.
Can I just say one thing? Roger's
got to go.
Yeah, I know. But this is to the host. We know it's not easy to manage all of this, but you know what? For More Sport appreciates the hard work that you put in for us. So thank you very much, host.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All the time you gunned me down. And thank you so much for joining us. Anyway, guys, that was episode 20 For More Sport. The season is over. City are champions. Roll on the Champions League final. Liverpool got one more crack at getting some more silverware. Take care, people, and we will see you all in the next show. Peace.
See you, folks.
Okay. See you later.